Wow, Tesla stock is up over 4.5% at the time of recording this video, a massive outperformance compared to other big tech names like Microsoft, down over 2.5%. We'll talk about why Tesla stock is outperforming today, go over all of the breaking news that you need to know, as well as the option activity. Try to put today in context for everyone. Congratulations if you are a viewer of this channel, and you hopefully had a heads up on exactly this. I think this is just the start, I should probably add. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. Let's start with all of your Tesla breaking news, then we'll actually get into what's happening with Tesla today. Gary Black is pointing out Tesla's outperformance. He says, quote, Tesla is way outperforming, up 4.5%. The other Magnificent 7 stocks today. Falling interest rates offer a double positive for Tesla. Number one, long duration, high PE multiple growth names benefit most as long-term rates come down. And number two, less of a chance Tesla cuts prices again, with loan payments falling can also boost demand. He goes on to say that I can see the promise of the Tesla bot, but still want to view it as an upside option rather than bake it into my valuation until we see, one, how it adds value, and two, understand the unit economics. For an example, if the bot can replace workers making $15 an hour times 16 hours a day times 350 days a year, its usefulness can be valued at $84,000 a year. If the bot is priced at $50,000 and costs $20,000 to make, and Tesla can make $200,000 a year, that's worth $6 billion a year in incremental gross margin, and maybe $4 billion incremental profit after R&D, SG&A, and taxes. That would add another $120 billion in Tesla valuation at a 30 times PE, but I'm just making up numbers, so it can't be added to my valuation. Yet. So if you're on the speculative side when it comes down to the Tesla bot, then maybe you could say that's one reason why Tesla is outperforming today, but it's a little bit simpler than that. Unfortunately, for some people, they're not going to like this. But we'll get into that in just a few minutes. General Motors Cruise on Thursday announced that it will lay off 900 employees, or 25% of its workforce. This is one of those bad news, good news kind of things for Tesla. Less demand for robotaxis down the line? Sure. Harder to get approval for robotaxis? Yes, because if Cruise is having problems, obviously Tesla's a lot more sophisticated than Cruise, but it's gonna make the permitting, the licensing, potentially harder to obtain, which is bad news for Tesla. The number of non-Tesla car dealers selling EVs in the US has more than tripled since November of 2020, bringing the share of dealers selling EVs up to 55.1% from 16.5% just 3 years ago. GM has now released photos of the new EV they are releasing in 2025 called the Vistic. It's an all-new electric 3-row SUV that will sit between the Lyriq and soon-to-become Escalade IQ. GM didn't release any specs. GM CEO Mary Barra is actually giving Tesla a lot of credit here. She said, quote, I do have to give Tesla a lot of credit, literally, because I think they've stayed committed and worked through the years on getting to scale and growing. They've really helped the EV market. I think, no, there's a lot of OEM competition to Tesla. The Cybertruck's 4-foot-long wiper arm and blade assembly will cost $165 to replace. Not too bad, but you better hope that windshield does not go out. This says the giant windshield will cost $1,900 before labor, including labor and tax. It will likely be close to $2,300 or more to replace. Some more troubling news for GM's Cruise. The robotaxi unit has fired 9 executives after the recent safety probe. GM CEO Mary Barra said Wednesday they are still planning on moving to all EV sales by 2035, even as they have recently delayed some EV production. Tesla is among one of the firms holding Bitcoin that will get a boost from a new accounting rule that is changing in late 2024. Quote, the amendments in the ASU improve the account for certain crypto assets by requiring an entity to measure those crypto assets at fair value, each reporting period with changes in fair value recognized in net income. The amendments also improve the information provided to investors about an entity's crypto asset holdings by requiring disclosure about significant holdings, contractual sale restrictions, and changes during the reporting period. Now, this is some pretty big Tesla-specific news. Breaking news, Tesla has partnered with Uber to make their new inventory vehicles available for drivers to purchase on the Uber vehicle marketplace. Uber is offering up to $3,000 for people who take delivery by December 31st. In Germany, the estimated delivery date for the white and black paint Model 3 Highland is 1 to 4 weeks. They are in the process of delivering at the end of the quarter. The 4,500 euro government grant last this month. I hope more people in Germany will buy the vehicles. This is coming from Tesla Chan. So it looks like we might start to get some more Highlands that roll out in Europe. That should be great news. There is a visual chart of the estimated deliveries that we need to see for Q4 in order for Tesla to hit 1.8 million deliveries in 2024. As you can see, there's really nothing too unnatural about these estimates, right? They look pretty similar to other quarters. Actually, in the US, Q4 could come in lower than other quarters, and still you would beat the 1.8 million guidance that Tesla has set forward. China looks like you need to see a little bit stronger of a Q4 than other quarters, pretty similar to Q1. In English here, it looks like Tesla's easily going to hit 1.8 million deliveries. Tesla's option activity is impressive so far on the day today. You have seen 1,379 hedge fund institutional trades worth $260.5 million with a positive order value of 73%. As you know, these final numbers do not come out until 4 p.m. It is not 4 p.m. yet as we are recording this video, but judging how you've seen 1,400 orders so far with still some time left to go towards the end of the day today, don't be surprised if this is a huge day as far as the notional dollar amount for Tesla options, something I am looking forward to reporting to you guys at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Now, if you take a look at the volume today, 58% of all options trading hands have been to the call side. 42% of options trading hands have been to the put side. That is also a very strong number. The dollar amount currently sold short in Tesla stock is $21.2 billion, with 3.26% of the float being sold short. Based on my calculations today, short sellers are going to lose over $1 billion, potentially as high as $1.5 billion, just depending on where Tesla stock closes by the end of the day today. If Tesla continues higher from here, as I expect, yeah, the losses are going to amount very quickly. That could lead to shorts covering on their short positions. If you're also seeing an influx of capital from cash on the sidelines, from money market funds, and from treasuries, yeah, you could see Tesla stock rally exponentially higher from here. Let's now discuss why Tesla is actually outperforming so much today. At the time of recording this video, Tesla is now only up 4%, which is a pretty good day for Tesla. That's up about $10 per share. But look at what your other big tech names are doing today. Nvidia is down almost 1%. Apple is down more than half of 1%. Microsoft is down 2.5%. Amazon is down almost 2%. Google is down about 2%. What is happening today? This is something I actually talked about for a while now. It is very clear to me. It's been clear for weeks, maybe a month or so. I've talked about it here on this channel. You do not want to be in stocks that do not benefit from rates going lower. If that sounded confusing, you want to be in interest rate sensitive names. All of these names, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, to a lesser extent, Nvidia, right? All of these guys, they benefit from rates going higher. You might ask, why is that? Well, these companies, maybe not as much Nvidia, but all of these other companies have between 50 and $100+ billion of money in the bank. Simple math here. Let's be simple about this. Say you have $100 billion in the bank. If you can get 5% on your cash, you're going to make $5 billion a year in profit, just no matter what. That is a big boost to EPS. Now think about it like this. Advertisers do not decide whether or not they're going to advertise on Google based on Fed policy. You could make the argument that when the Fed raises rates, your odds of a recession are higher, so people might advertise more because they don't want their business to slow down. That could be very good for Google. You could make the argument that a company does not decide whether or not to get Azure cloud products from Microsoft, whether or not the Fed raises rates or lowers rates. They just need the software or they don't. You could make the argument that, again, if odds of a recession are higher, a company might want to be more efficient and opt to get Azure cloud software. There's all of these different arguments that you can make that lead to the same result. You don't want to own these stocks in 2024. Just besides those points, they've all went up dramatically. Whereas Tesla stock has massively underperformed these names. If you look at the low back in January, then Tesla is up a lot. But if you're looking at the stock from its all-time high price, you're still down over 40%. Tesla stock has a lot more upside and is very interest rate sensitive. So every time the Fed has been raising rates, it's done two things to Tesla. It has contracted the multiple. It has put pressure on the business. Now that rates are going to be going lower in 2024, well, it should help the multiple go higher. It should help Tesla's business fundamentally. 90% or more of new cars are purchased via financing. They're not purchased with cash, writing a check out of the bank account. They're purchased by getting a loan over 90% of the time. So as rates go higher, less people can afford to get loans. I think we all understand this. But how does this help you make money? It's simple. If the economy holds up and we see no recession, which the data we got today supports exactly that, and the Fed is going to cut rates multiple times in 2024, you do not want to be in names like these that are on the screen: Amazon, Google, Nvidia, Microsoft. Nvidia, you can make the argument that they're okay to own in 2024. But your big tech names that have led the markets higher, that have led the indexes higher, are not the places to be. Tesla is the opportune place to invest your money. There is no better place to invest your money than Tesla in 2024. I would argue with anyone on that. Now, if you wanted to dive a little bit more into the realm of speculation, you could say that maybe someone somewhere knows something. Typically, big money tends to know things before we do, good or bad. So Tesla massively outperforming could mean that maybe someone does know a positive catalyst is coming. But I would argue probably not. We tend to know the positive catalyst before Wall Street ever prices it in. And that's another point I want to make. Coming this month or next month, you're going to see FSD enter into the Chinese market. That is not something I think is currently priced into Tesla stock. And that's another catalyst we can look forward to in the near term that could send Tesla stock up easily 10% or more the day that happens. The data that we got today that really supports a soft landing is retail sales. Now, it's important to remember, I know this can get a little bit confusing. In 2022, good economic data was seen as bad news. That was because CPI was 9%. Ultimately, stocks sold off in 2022, not because the Fed raised rates, but because everyone thought a recession was coming. So as we headed into 2023, well, you really seen that sell-off in October, right? You hit the lows for the cycle. You did very well in 2023 as no recession came, as inflation continued to fall. Even more recently, inflation has continued to fall, and the economy has continued to do just fine. You had an over 5% GDP reading for Q3. You can make an argument that some disinflation in goods, some services, in the price of gas could actually lead to a reacceleration of the economy in 2024. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video. Stay tuned for that one that comes out at 8:30 p.m. tonight. But long story short, we are already seeing the disinflation taking place. That's fine. It's been going faster than a lot of people expected. That's great news. As long as the economy holds up. If the economy goes into a recession or starts to look like we're going into recession, stocks will crash. This rally will come to a screeching halt and stocks will fall. So this data today was very encouraging. Retail sales month over month for November were expected at negative 0.1%. On a 12-month annualized basis, that would be negative 1.2%. Not terrible, but definitely not a great situation. Retail sales came in at positive 0.3%. On a 12-month annualized basis, that is 3.6%. That's where you want to be to avoid a recession. Now, we will get some data coming out tomorrow morning. It's a little bit on the softer side, but we will highlight that in the next video as well. In the next video, we will also go over where I think Tesla stock is going next and look at the stock on the technicals. I'm sure you have already pointed this out, and if you're in the trading community, I broke this down for you guys, but today you're finally breaking above this longer term downtrending line of resistance. This could start some pretty big upside, or a pretty big upside move from here, shall I say. Let's now look at the global inventory numbers for the Tesla lineup, and the Model Y is really back and forth here. You're at the most elevated levels that we have been at throughout all of 2023, even going back to 2022. Not exactly sure why. Probably production has cranked up. The Model Y continues to sell like nobody's business, so I'm not concerned about it, but definitely something to be watching for. The Model 3 inventory has been very low, in kind of a normal range for 2023, and you're starting to see that tick up a little bit more. You now have about 2,400 Model Ys in inventory, or Model 3s in inventory. Model Ys, you got about 6,000 in inventory. Your Model S and your X continue to fall, really trading at some of the lowest points we have seen in the last 9 months, with about 1,400 Model X's in inventory and about 1,000 Model S's currently in inventory. Google trend activity for the Cybertruck, as you can see in yellow, is projected to fall quite a bit, potentially to about 50, although this data is not finalized. We're currently at 77. You are seeing an uptick in the Model Y as well as the Model 3, which, who knows, could be the start of that halo effect. Tesla continues to run about 300 different ads globally, a majority for the US, some for Europe, and a small amount mostly energy products for Australia. Although the indexes are down, if you're looking at the SPY specifically, still, the percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average is up about 3.5% to 81.15%. That's higher than any point you've seen during the summer rally. This is taking you back to January of 2023, as well as the summer rally of 2022. 10-year Treasury yields are one of the biggest stories of the day today that is affecting your interest rate sensitive names. 10-year Treasury is currently down about 10 basis points. At one point, you were down 13 basis points, but really, you're back under 4%. You're at 3.93%. So people are buying the Treasuries here. Pretty interesting. Also giving a boost to, again, those interest rate sensitive names. And that does obviously include Tesla. The markets are now expecting 6 rate cuts in 2024. We'll talk about this more in the next video. That is going to go ahead and do it for this one. If you can't tell, the next video is going to be pretty exciting as well. I think Tesla stock is going much higher from here. Stay tuned to the channel for that one. If you guys want to come join the trading community, check out the link down below in the description of this video. We just hit another over 700% winning trade here today. Turned $1,000 into a free $1,000 plus $3,500 worth of profits. So if you guys want to come trade with us, us live in real time every time I send out alerts. Link down below in the description of this video. We also did make a put trade on Costco. Gonna make some free contracts out of that one. That trade's already up about 30% here on the day to day as well. They report earnings in after hours. That could be big for the broader markets. In the meantime, hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you made it to the end of this video. My name is Michael Tyler. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.